We're from West Virginia University cycling team.
And you're watching A Billion Bikes! Woo!
Hi, I'm John Urman, producer of On the Canal. You can get my program in full quality DVD with bonus features and more. Come visit onthecanal.org and I'll see you on the canal.
This week on A Billion Bikes. Cumberland is just ahead, and so is the end of our cycling adventure on the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal. Join John Urman and the National Park Service, and welcome back to the conclusion of On the Canal.
After lunch in Paw Paw, get your wheels back onto gravel. We're in the final stretch. And just 6 miles up, the canal gets rewatered, and just 4 miles more takes us into Old Town. It's, well, the oldest town in Allegheny County. Stop in Old Town at the Old Town School. It's no longer one of those K-12 schools. It's an auto restoration shop and houses the wonderful schoolhouse kitchen. The kitchen is open 8 to 8, 7 days a week. Just can't go wrong. Also in town, check out the Michael Cressup Museum. In these parts, the Cressup name is about as famous as George Washington was. Heading out of Old Town and just about a mile up the road, the canal passes through a deep cut of highly fractured shale. Stand quietly for a minute and you'll hear little pieces pinging down all around you. Fall is in full riot, and it's always a great time to ride the canal. It dazzles the eyes and delights the senses. The Mexico Farms area is particularly beautiful this time of year. With Cumberland up ahead, I started wondering about the canal's effect on the region. And wouldn't you know, that's when I ran into Rita Knox of the National Park Service down by the big oak tree.
While Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was the intended western terminus of the C&O Canal, as you know, it was never completed beyond Cumberland, Maryland, the city that later became known as the Queen City of the Potomac. Coal was transferred at Cumberland. That became the major cargo of the canal. It was very important to the whole country. Although canal construction had stalled because of troubles at the Paw Paw Tunnel, with the completion of the tunnel, commerce finally opened up along the remaining 50 miles of the canal on October 10, 1850. Despite the threat of civil war, bad weather and floods, lock tenders and their families would benefit from the increased traffic in the region. Almost overnight, Cumberland went from a frontier town to a bustling port city. By the end of the century, the Queen City had become the second largest city in Maryland. The town moved lumber, flour, coal, and sprouted stables, warehouses, and boatyards. From this grew housing, hotels, bars, and pool parlors. Shantytown on Wino Street at Shriver Basin was the real rough-and-tumble heartbeat of the canal. The canal would endure for another 74 years before major floods and competition from the railroad finally brought it down. Today, the footer dye works stand as silent testimony to the glory days of the canal in Cumberland.
Cumberland today is a very modern city that still remembers and holds dear its glorious past. The Park Service deserves special kudos for making this end of the canal so interesting and so hospitable. The canal has a peace and a serenity that's just plain good for the soul. And it is with sadness and a very special sense of accomplishment that our journey ends here.
Congratulations, we made it to Cumberland, 184.5 miles in 30 minutes. That's 369 miles an hour. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed riding it, so perhaps someday you'll think about riding it too. Till next time.